You've never once made a buying decision without asking yourself 2 questions, and you almost certainly didn't notice you were asking them. A new car, a dress you saw in a window, a job offer, the thing you added to your Amazon cart last night. Every single time, 2 questions are running in the back of your head. How am I going to feel about myself if I do this? And how are other people going to see me? Once you see these 2 questions, you can't unsee them in your own decisions, in the people around you, and in every piece of marketing that's ever worked on you. Here's how they work. Customers don't usually voice these 2 questions. Most of the time, they don't even fully articulate them to themselves, but they drive almost every buying decision they make. Most marketing tries to persuade the things customers say out loud. The most effective marketing speaks to the things customers are silently asking themselves. These 2 questions have names. The first one, how am I going to feel about myself if I do this, is about your self-image, how you see yourself, the kind of person you are or the kind of person you're becoming by making this choice. You join a gym because you want to feel better about yourself. You buy expensive hiking boots because they make you feel like the person who finally takes weekends and nature seriously. Every purchase is partly a small vote for who you want to be. As the saying goes, people don't buy products, they buy better versions of themselves. The second question, how are other people going to see me, is about your social image, how other people perceive you, the signals you're sending, whether you mean to or not. The car you park in your company lot, the bag you carry into your kid's school, the bookshelf behind you on Zoom. All of it is readable. All of it sends information about who you are to people who are watching, and they're always watching. Both questions are usually active at once. Let me show you what this actually looks like in the wild. First example, a Nike ad from 2012. You may have seen it. It's called Find Your Greatness. The ad opens on an empty country road, a wide, flat stretch of pavement disappearing into the horizon. Then, slowly, you see a figure in the distance coming towards the camera. A 12-year-old boy running. He's slow, he's out of breath, he's sweating, he's running anyway. Nike doesn't show you anything flashy like they used to. This isn't MJ wearing their shoes. It's a young kid running. And at the end, the voiceover lands on one line. Find your greatness. This is a self-image ad. The kid on the road isn't running because someone told him to. He's running because he's deciding, rep by rep, step by step, not to give up on himself. The ad didn't pitch the shoes. Actually, you barely notice his shoes. Nike doesn't pitch at all. The ad was an invitation. You can be someone you haven't been yet. Greatness belongs to you. Every frame is a self-image promise that you can do this too. What Nike actually sold in that ad wasn't footwear. It was permission. Permission for the viewer to stop seeing their own body, their fitness level, and starting point as a disqualifier. The ad gave permission to the viewer to decide they could also be someone who runs. That's what a memorable self-image campaign does. Nike didn't need to describe their shoes. They showed a version of you their product helps you become. And then they got out of the way. The people who watched that ad and signed up for a 5K, bought their first pair of running shoes, or just walked a little further that week weren't buying Nike. They were buying the version of themselves Nike had just made them feel possible. Here's an example of social image. A few years ago, a 40-ounce insulated cup became a cultural phenomenon. People lined up at Target before it opened. They fought over limited edition colors, traded them like they were currency, collected them in matching rainbow sets stacked on kitchen counters. This was not a hydration revolution. Most of us people already owned water bottles. Some owned 10. What they didn't have was a visible, color-coordinated, Instagram-worthy way of being seen as the kind of person who takes care of themselves. That's the driver. The Stanley Cup said, I'm someone who has her life together, enough to drink this much water. It said, I'm part of this cultural moment. It said, I belong with the women who are building wellness routines and posting them. This is social image in its purest form. The purchase wasn't about the product. It was about what owning the product signaled to everyone watching. When you see a product become a phenomenon that has little to do with its actual function, you're watching social image buying at scale. And once you spot it, you can't unsee it. Now that you can spot the two drivers in buying moments, you can start spotting them in actual conversations. The people around you and your customers are telling you about self-image and social image every day. Your partners, your friends, your colleagues, your own internal monologue. We're just using different words. When prospects or customers tell you why they're doing or not doing something, listen to the question underneath the sentence. Here's a few examples. When someone says, "I'm not sure that color works for me," what they might mean is, "I'm worried I'll feel self-conscious wearing it. Will I feel like myself in that? Or will I feel like I'm trying to be someone I'm not?" That is self-image. When someone says, "I just don't see myself at that restaurant," what they might mean is, "I don't want the people who see me there to think I'm that kind of person." That's social image. When someone says, "I need to check with my family before booking that trip," what they might mean is, "I don't want to take the blame if this goes wrong." Social image. Specifically, the risk offloading version. If it goes badly, it wasn't my call. If someone says, "I don't think that gym is for me," what they might mean is, "I don't want to walk in there and feel like I don't belong, and I don't want anyone watching me struggle." Both drivers at once. Self-image about who they are, social image about how they'll look doing it. When someone says, "The software looks great, but I'm not sure we have the budget for it right now," what they might mean in a work context is, "What if I push for this and it doesn't deliver and I look irresponsible in front of my team?" This is social image. It's a real career risk. Almost no one says, "My self-image feels threatened" out loud. Almost no one says, "I'm worried about how this will make me look to my team." They use softer, safer language. Your job, if you want to understand what's actually going on, is to hear the question underneath the words. Once you start noticing this, you'll hear it everywhere, in sales conversations, in reviews, in the way you narrate your own decisions to yourself. These two questions show up in every decision we make, every single one. Sometimes they're subtle, running underneath the surface of something you think is practical. Sometimes they're loud and you can feel them competing. Sometimes they align and a decision becomes easy. Sometimes they fight and the fight becomes a whole chapter of your life. The people who study this for a living, marketers, therapists, novelists, know that when you understand these two drivers, you understand almost everything you need to know about why people do what they do. Once you know to listen for them too, you'll start hearing them everywhere, in yourself first, then in everyone around you. If you want more videos about the hidden drivers of buying decisions, the stuff underneath the surface of why we do what we do, you can subscribe to this channel.